Welcome and congratulations for purchasing the Order of Merlin's instructional VHS. This is the first in what we hope will be a long-standing program to aid our hunters in their work going forward. The idea is to impart the basic information on a given entity and to also explain the best practice for hunting those entities. The information contained within has been collected from various hunters of master rank as well as senior researchers within the Order. This will be a vital resource for all young hunters and those looking to brush up on their skills. It is highly recommended that you take notes throughout the video, pausing the tape while you write down the information you find important. You should also make note of specific sections that you can refer back to when needed. I am Researcher Jenkins, a transfer staff member from the KSG, and I've been asked to head up this program in between my usual work. This will be my first solo project for the Order, and I am very enthused to move forward with it. We are very excited about this new VHS technology and how it can create a fun and dynamic way for our hunters to keep up to date with the latest discoveries about the spheres. Today we'll be covering the female nymph, both its morphology and its social structure. The reason we separate both the male and female nymphs as almost two separate entities is due to the extreme levels of sexual dimorphism. The males of the species are physically weak and spindly, relying upon their adapted reality warping abilities to trap and starve prey before approaching. They possess horizontal mouths like ourselves, though much wider, with many sharp, needle-like teeth. They are universally wingless and tend to move around on all fours, digging their scythe-like forelimbs into the ground as they move. Whereas the females of the species possess an incredibly dense muscular and bone structure, giving them explosive power when needed. Their mouths open vertically, splitting their face in two. However, they also possess a false mouth resembling our own, which they appear to use to communicate with. Unlike the males, they possess wings from birth and will only be found without them due to battle damage. They are bipedal, walking upon their feet to always have their bladed forearms free and ready to attack. At the end of their bladed forearms, and again unlike the males, the females also possess hands with a grip strength strong enough to crush bone. They also, within their necks, have an organ that is wholly absent from the males, that of the pheromone sac. This creates and excretes a constant pollen-like substance that causes both hypnotic and hallucinogenic effects. To those who fall victim to this chemical, they will see the nymphs as being achingly beautiful, and at the same time will be unable to see anything they do as morally wrong. An MMB will isolate you from this effect, however not completely, as while it will allow you to recognize their actions as evil, the beautifying effect will still be in play. This has created long-term issues for hunters in the past, as they lose all interest in any sexual relations, as when compared to what they saw with the female nymph, everyone else appears disfigured and unappealing. Within our sphere, males are rejected and isolated, while the females have strong social bonds within their groups, fiercely defending each other from any perceived threat, swarming and tearing through the danger with frighteningly fast ruthlessness. This connection goes beyond defense, with packs of female nymphs regularly hunting together, moving upon higher ground within the tops of trees or upon buildings, using their wings that, while incapable of flight, are able to boost their leaps through the air. They travel in formations that are unique to each family group, however follow some similarities. Those at the head of the formation are tasked with spotting either a lone victim or a group of victims, where those susceptible to the pheromonal effect is higher than those who are not. Once an acceptable target or targets are found, the group literally falls upon them, cutting downwards with their blade-like forearms, attempting to sever the victim's own arms at the shoulders. Each blade excretes a waxy, potent coagulant that stops the bleeding both on the body and the removed limbs. With their unsettling speed and strength, they will remove each of the victim's 4 limbs, leaving behind only the head and torso. Once done, if no interruptions arrive, they will feed on the removed arms and legs, while also killing those unaffected by their pheromone. For those affected, their limbless but still living bodies will be taken back to the glade, them experiencing the feeling of being held by a lover as they are carried. For those they did not take, they are the people not affected by the pheromones, those without a sexual attraction to the female gender. They will be killed and fed upon, if possible, at the site of the attack. For those taken, their fate is to be used as a living food store, the female nymphs keeping them alive by feeding them whatever they can find, typically the partially rotted remains of wild animals and other human victims that the nymphs no longer have a use for. The nymphs are horrifyingly surgical with what part of their living food stores they eat, devouring non-essential muscles and organs over a period of months to keep the victim alive for as long as possible. An unsettling aspect of this is that when hunters have attempted to save these people, they have screamed and attempted to bite at their rescuers, wanting desperately to be left with the female nymphs, even if those nymphs are dead and butchered around them. As already alluded to, the males of the species upon our world are rejected by the group, left to fend for themselves, with any attempted approach by a male towards any female resulting in the death of said male. This would imply a declining population, as the males are never around the females long enough to procreate. However, within our sphere, the females appear to adapt, becoming able to self-fertilize. What's odd, however, is that within their own sphere, this dynamic is very different, with the males being treated as a precious resource and jealously guarded by the females. Within their sphere, different groups trade males between each other to preserve genetic diversity, while the males, being orders of magnitude weaker than the females, offer nothing to the group apart from genetic material. The fact that this system completely breaks down when they enter our sphere implies that something is missing. We know that the Fey sphere is one governed by emotion, a living realm where music born of pure feeling floats through the air. So it's possible that perhaps our world is missing a particular note from this music that the nymphs require to maintain their typical sanity. What we see of them within our sphere may very well be how they behave when driven to madness. Entities of the spheres act on laws outside our understanding, therefore they may be an essential element to their sphere that our sphere simply lacks, causing a condition similar to starvation-driven madness. Both the male and female examples of the species possess mild reality warping abilities. The males that manage to survive on their own against the odds use this ability to construct traps, whereas the females instead use it to create glades. A nymph glade is essentially a facsimile of the Fey sphere, though only superficially. Grasses that to us look unnaturally green and scream out in pain when stepped on by non-Fey feet. Trees that seem to breathe, their trunks expanding and contracting, as well as animals that appear to gain sentience when within the glade. These are places of intense Fey magic that remains potent for years after the nymphs have been cleared out, leading to them being hotspots for Fey cult activity, and thus they must remain guarded until the magic finally dissipates. Through long-range observations of the glades, we have learned some aspects of their social life. Firstly, it's important to note that nymphs are sentient creatures with language and culture unique to each group. The males do not display this only due to the neglect they experience before they are chased away. As mothers, they are extremely attentive and loving to their daughters, pre-chewing human flesh before offering it to them. However, their family structure is far more fluid than how ours has become, with each mother caring for each daughter as if they were their own. There is a special bond between actual mother and daughter, but all care for all. This scene would be quite tender if not for those males too young to be chased off completely, malnourished, shivering, and still attempting to gain comfort from the adult females to no avail. Young males are treated as a pest by the adult females and hunting practice by the young females, with the adults striking them away and the young leaping upon them and cutting into them with their own blades. These young males only survive due to the food meant for the human food stores, with them stealing occasional bites and retreating to avoid reprisal. Within these groups, the leader will always be the oldest female or the matriarch. Their role is to lead the hunts, settle disagreements peacefully between other females, and choosing roles for those within the glade. This position is not one those below compete for. Instead, it always peacefully goes to the eldest within the group. In fact, fights between female nymphs are exceptionally rare, even between different groups. Contracts for female nymphs are not posted openly. This is due to the long-lasting effects they can have upon a person even when connected to an MMB. Instead, these bounties are reserved for heterosexual women, homosexual men, and those who are asexual, as they are not affected by the female nymph's pheromones. For those hunters who fall within one of these categories, you will need to arm yourselves with cold iron ammunition and several charms, such as the rabbit's foot, for added protection. You only ever want to engage at range with these entities, as they are frighteningly fast and strong, meaning that melee is not a healthy decision. Along with this, you'll want to act as part of a team whose numbers are greater than that of the nymphs you are going up against. They will attempt to break away, circling around you to flank your position, so having members of your team watching your back is vital to your success. If you decide to engage at the entity's glade, apart from the rabbit's foot, you will also want an MMB handy and linked, as the reality-warped environment can have its own detrimental effects upon the mind, even blocking entry without the MMB, while the rabbit's foot will defend you from residual reality warping. For a time, at least. While you may be thinking, why would we attack at their glade? The reason is rather simple. If they are outside of their glade, it means that they are hunting and on high alert, and so will be aware of you before you are of them. Within their glade, they are relaxed, as people cannot normally enter the place, and so you, with your MMBs, will be able to creep towards them, getting into position for a perfect strike that they will not see coming. Once the female nymphs have been dealt with, you will also need to hunt down the males in case, on the off chance, one of them survives their childhood and becomes another problem entirely. I hope that this lecture has helped you in understanding the female nymph. As I stated at the beginning, we are hoping to make many more of these VHSs in the future, covering the many entities we face from the 4 greater spheres and the many subspheres. If we are given the go-ahead to continue this project, it will be within the next year, as I myself am beginning a research and observation study of the female nymphs, though do not worry, as I myself should not be viewing the creatures directly. I'd like to thank you again for purchasing this tape and for watching it through to completion. With Arthur's might and Merlin's wisdom, we carry on and endure.